Okay.
All right. Here we go. Oh my gosh, we cannot do it. We just can't do it. We can't go on air without giggling. Good evening. Welcome to the Zone Blitz. This is the weekly Tuesday night webcast produced by NFL Female. Be sure to jump on our website, www.nflfemale.com. By the way, it's getting ready to have a new look, so stay tuned in for that. But check out all the latest and greatest articles by all the women there who really know their stuff and write about their teams and their passion for their teams. Also check out our Wednesday night podcast, Wednesday Night with NFL Female. That airs tomorrow night. I am Sharona. I am the official Titans correspondent for NFL Female. You can follow me on Twitter. My nose is itching. Somebody must be talking about me. You can follow me on Twitter at Sports by Sharona, and I am joined by my co-host, Sonja. I'm going to kick it over to her and let her bring in our fabulous guests. We have two of our sisters from NFL Female on tonight. I'm super excited to talk to both of them. So, Sonja, bring us all in.
Hello, everybody. I'm Sonja. I am the official fan reporter for the Detroit Lions. You can find me on Twitter at mom, the number 2, the number 3 RN. Actually, I'm the official reporter for NFL Female for the Detroit Lions. Don't want to think I'm taking anybody's space or anything like that. Anyways, so I am excited to be talking to you guys tonight about the Lions. And yes, I am in my Halloween getup. This is me waking up in the morning, although I don't even look this decent.
I'm going to be taking photos throughout the evenings because we have to commemorate this awesome event. It is our Halloween show. I am dressed up as Javon Curse, former NFL defensive lineman and great player for the Titans, and we'll talk about that in a minute.
Oh, that's cool. Very, very nice. And so we get to have joining us today Michelle and Leora. Leora. Okay, fantastic. And they are our fan reporters for the Dallas Cowboys, as you can see by Michelle's great big old star, and the Denver Broncos. So, Michelle, thank you so much for joining us.
Hello, ladies. I am so happy to be here. This is exciting.
We're very excited to have you.
We are so excited to have
Definitely
you.
are.
I could have put two teardrops right here, and I could have been a sad Dallas Cowboy fan, but I'm...
No, don't be sad. Just sad.
I would have loved that.
Tears of a clown. And then, Leora, how are you tonight?
I'm doing good, but I think I lost my live feed. I don't know if you guys can see me, but
we can't see you, but we can sure hear you.
We can hear you perfectly,
and we see a beautiful picture of you as well.
We do see a beautiful.
I don't
picture.
know what
you might.
I don't know what happened in my live feed.
Well, you might just exit out and come back in. It should restore it real quick.
Click on the little video. That's what.
All right, so
tonight, I lost the video. I don't know why.
Yeah, that's weird. We've been having some connection issues. By the way, it is storming here in Nashville. We have a cold front coming through. We're getting ready to have a 20-degree temperature drop here. So I will definitely be hanging out in front of the fireplace tomorrow night because it'll be a lot colder. So that could be affecting the connection. But we'll get Leora back in here in a minute because we definitely want to talk to her about her Denver Broncos. While we're getting her back in there, let's start with Michelle and talk a little bit about the game last night because I definitely want to find out. By the way, if you're watching and you live under a rock and you didn't watch that fantastic Monday Night Football game, classic matchup between the Dallas Cowboys and the Washington Redskins, went into overtime, the battle of the backups in the second half, but a very curious thing happened on the way to overtime. Dallas Cowboys quarterback Tony Romo, who of course has had some back issues in the past, had a couple of surgeries, but has been playing lights out this year, outstanding, and was playing very well in the football game last night. He got knocked out of the game with a back contusion, took a knee to his back, went to the locker room, came back very late in the fourth quarter, wasn't terribly effective. I think I'm being kind there, but wasn't terribly effective, but did take the game into overtime where the Cowboys lost. Now, there are several curious things about that. First and foremost, it looked like, and I want to get Michelle to weigh in here, it looked like Jerry Jones just basically told Jason Garrett that Tony Romo was going back in the football game, and that was all there was to it. And then second, was that a wise decision or not, Michelle?
Well, let's start with the first. I would probably say that's probably true. I was at the game. Let's just say that I was at the game. It was my first Dallas Cowboy game in the new stadium.
Oh, nice. Yay.
So, yeah, I got back this morning. I got back early, about noon today.
How exciting.
That's so much fun.
Yeah, more than but I was getting text messages from people, and they're like, "Why is your owner on the sideline?" I'm like, "He does what he's doing what he does." I mean, this is what he does. I mean, we forget the part of his title that says coach, and so he does what he does. So, but I think it was not a wise decision to bring Tony Romo back into the game for the simple fact that Brandon Wheaton produced or orchestrated 10 of the 17 points that we got. In the game. And it's not that Romo was playing very badly. It's just that the injury was serious enough that he was on the ground for a long time. Yeah. And, one, career-wise, I mean, we need him for the rest of the season. So I would have preferred him stay out. At the time, Brandon Wheaton was hot. And really, it wasn't that Brandon Wheaton was so hot. DeMarco Murray was being DeMarco Murray. Mm-hmm. And so together, they were able to put 10 points on the board, which should have been 14 if I questioned the play calling on both sides of the ball for the Cowboys last night. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you, Michelle. The Cowboys gave Tony Romo that big, high-priced contract extension. He's due to earn a lot of money. Why would you risk his health that way?
Right.
I could understand it a little bit more if Brandon Wheaton had been sucking it up, which I completely expected to happen.
Me too.
Right? I mean, we can all agree that everybody thought Brandon Wheaton was going to suck, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I totally did.
But he didn't. So why would you do that? Sonja, what did you think? How did you look at that decision?
I thought it was just kind of a stupid thing. Why are you going to risk Tony Romo's health in the end of this game? Granted, they were kind of still in it, but at the same time, it's just like you need him for the rest of your season if you are going to complete this awesome season that you guys are having. So why risk it on, the end of this game? And, Whedon, like you said, was doing a pretty decent job. So why risk it? I don't get it. I don't know. But, I mean, again, it's Jerry's world. We're just living in it. So there's that.
Yeah, right? I mean, that's exactly it. Leora, did you get a chance to watch that game? And what did you think about Tony Romo going back in?
Yeah, I did get a chance to watch the game. I had a little bit more of a vested interest in it. Alfred Morris was on my competitor's fantasy football team, and I didn't want him to get any points, so. But towards the end, I got really sucked in the drama behind Romo getting injured. I didn't agree with it. I thought it was a poor choice on the coaching staff and the medical staff. I thought Whedon flowed a rhythm going. They had some momentum, and to switch it up that late in the game when the game was on the line, I just thought that was a poor move. So. Yeah,
I did too. I don't know why you would want to risk his health like that. Michelle, did you want to say something else?
Yeah, I will say this now. Being at the game, while Brandon Wheaton, or while the Redskins had the ball, they actually showed Romo on the sideline throwing the ball, and the crowd was berserk. Everybody was yelling. They was happy. They was clapping because they saw that he was going to be able to come back in, which I can understand. I can understand he being the starting quarterback, and if he's healthy enough that you want him back in there despite whatever's going on. However, I don't really think he was healthy. I can see that he was still in pain. they didn't really know how serious his injury was at the time, and so that's why I think he didn't need to go in because DeMarco Murray was still running. He was still able to run despite the 8-man front that the Redskins were presenting, and he could carry the load enough. If that was a game that if your backup can go in and win that game, because you're 6-1 at the point. Losing the game is not going to do anything but put you only half a game still in first place. So I think they should have just left him out to make sure that nothing was seriously wrong with him.
Yeah, I agree with you. And we also haven't talked about what happened after he went back in the football game. It was, I think, his second play back in. It might have been his first. Michelle can correct me here. He took an awful sack and fumbled the football. Dallas was incredibly lucky that they retained possession. There were some questionable calls. There was a holding in the end zone that the officials completely missed. How they missed it, I will never know. It was right in front of the back judge, just right in front of the back judge. And he apparently did not see it. So when you consider, all of that, it's definitely questionable. But here's the other thing: the X-rays came back negative. X-rays really don't tell you a whole lot about a back. It tells you your back's not broken, but that's not Tony Romo's problem. It doesn't tell you whether or not there's any damage to the disc and all of that. He's going to have an MRI. They're going to monitor his situation. We don't know, that it's being called a back contusion. If he does miss time, let's just ask the question: is Dallas a playoff contender without Tony Romo? Leora, let me start with you.
Boy, that with DeMarco Murray, I would say that maybe. I haven't seen enough of the backup, of Whedon to really firmly say that it would have any kind of passing game, without Romo on the field. But I think DeMarco Murray could carry a lot of the load.
Yeah, I agree.
Picture time.
That was a great one. I got a great one of Leora. Because I'm loving it. I want to look exactly like Leora. I do. I want to look exactly like you.
Oh goodness, she's beautiful.
No, it's fantastic. I love that. I love everything about her look. All right, before we move on from Washington, Dallas. No. Before we move on from Washington, Dallas, I definitely want to talk to Leora about. We definitely want to talk to Leora about her Denver Broncos. But I want to ask you guys, Washington, I think, is a little bit of a better football team than what people give them credit for. Colt McCoy really played well last night, I thought. Robert Griffin III is very close to returning. They thought, it might possibly be this week, but a little early for him to return. I forget who they face next week. I actually wrote about it. With the Vikings.
Minnesota.
Yeah.
Minnesota.
Yeah. So, would you, as well as Colt McCoy has played to this point, would you risk Robert Griffin III right now, or would you let him get completely healthy and then bring him back? And remember, that he struggled his sophomore year, second year in the league, because he really wasn't recovered from his ACL that he suffered late in his rookie year. So, Sonja, let me start with you.
No, I think if he's not 100%, and I think with Robert Griffin III, it needs to be 100%. He does not need to come back anything less than that. And so if Colt McCoy is, feeling pretty good and throwing the ball well like he did towards the end of the game or during the game yesterday, then keep him in. I mean, this is a Vikings team that honestly isn't the greatest. They're not world beaters or anything like that. So, keep him in, give him a chance to win. I don't see why you would want to bring Robert Griffin III back this early. Give him just that extra week to rest up.
Michelle, what do you think?
I think, one, that they're already making sure that he's healthy for the fact that he's sat out so many games. So when he does come back, he will be 100%. And I think if he's 100%, then that's who you start, because they gave up almost everything to get him.
I agree with that.
And when you do that, you have to make sure that he is your quarterback. Now, while Colt McCoy has played well, let's keep it real. He did beat the Titans and the Cowboys defense, which was last in the NFL last year. And I know they've been playing better, but they were also playing better because the offense is controlling the ball. And what we see is 2 weeks
they also lost Justin Durant too, and that really hurt.
And when our offense is not doing their part, that exposes our defense. And then you see that the defense, they put no pressure on Colt McCoy, and so he had time to throw. But he looks as good as Kirk Cousins did in his first starts when he came in for Robert Griffin. Sometimes that happens with the backup. But if RG3 is healthy, RG3 is the quarterback, he's the franchise for the Redskins. They have to put him out there and see what he has, because they're not going to know otherwise.
Yeah, I agree with that. Leora, what do you think?
I unfortunately think that, I live in D.C. now, so, moving away from Colorado a year ago, I'm amongst a lot of Redskins fans, and they have a deep love for RG3, but unfortunately I think that whatever potential he has lost at this point because of him coming back into the game too soon after his rookie injury. So there's so much uneasy and unrest in the quarterback position over here in DC that I think if Colt McCoy continues to produce, they should keep him in the game, especially when they're on the outside looking in at this point. They know they got to go with what works if they have any chance at all of even making a wild card spot.
Yeah, as much as I say Washington is a better team than they get credit for, I question whether they are a playoff team. I don't know that they're a playoff team. Possibly a playoff team with a healthy RG3, which is obviously that's the incentive that you have to start him. That's the question. At what point is he healthy? And so that remains to be seen. I just think that, and I agree with Michelle. Colt McCoy is a caretaker. That's all he is. He's not going to be their starting quarterback. So, all right. Well, now let's talk some Denver Broncos. I know Leora is extremely excited about the season. Not surprisingly, the Denver Broncos are rolling. They are one of the better teams, not just in the AFC, but in the NFL this year. So, let's talk about the Broncos in the AFC West. And I want to start with Leora. Can the Broncos, just beat the Chargers and are leading the division? Can anyone in the AFC West catch up with them, Leora?
If it's anybody, I think it would be the Chiefs.
Yeah.
They've won 4 in a row, so they've overcome a very lackluster start of the season, including that the loss to Denver in week 2. So if anyone has a chance, and it is a long shot, it would be the Chiefs.
Yeah, Michelle, what do you think?
I think I have to agree with Lenora. The Chiefs, the Chargers are in that division, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
The Chargers. I picked the Chargers to win last week because they're the one team for some reason that seems like they can come up with some wins. You just never know.
Yeah. They beat Denver last year. Yeah.
Right. Right. But I think I believe in the mustache. That's Andy Reid. And I think Denver.
At least you didn't call him the walrus like some people do.
He's the
I didn't want to be cruel, but yeah, the mustache. I believe in the mustache, and I think
he's a great coach.
Yeah, they can get it together. But I think Denver is still a step or two beyond both of them because they made the defense stronger, and that's what they needed. So in the instances when we get to the playoffs, we know that defense has changed and it becomes more competitive. And if Peyton struggles on the offense, I think their defense this time can hold them and keep them in the game. Whereas before, you wasn't so sure that he had to go out and throw all of those touchdowns. So
Yeah, just real quick, and I'm going to bring Sonja in, and of course Leora in. Right now, the Broncos are 6-1, the Chargers 5-3, the Chiefs are 4-3, and the poor Raiders are in the basement at 0-7. The Raiders are We might talk a little bit about whether or not they'll move to LA. That's kind of the hot thing. But Leora, what do you think? Oh, I already talked to you. Let me get Sonja, can anybody catch? I know I'm like confused.
Oh, it's all good, baby. Can anybody catch up with the Denver Broncos? Probably not. At first I kind of thought maybe the Chargers, but they're a little too, up and down, and I don't really trust in the end Phillip Rivers. And he's been doing a decent job with not a lot of people because he's had a lot of injuries. But I also think, probably not in the end. I think maybe Kansas City would probably be the second best team in that division, but it's Denver. It's Denver. We all know.
We might talk a little bit more about Kansas City in another topic that we're going to discuss later when we talk about Defensive Player of the Year candidates. But the Chargers definitely seem to have Denver's number to a certain extent. They didn't, in the game that they lost this season, but the Broncos will face the Chiefs in, I think, 2 or 3 weeks, and that should be a pretty good game. I'm very anxious to see. I think the Chiefs are a little bit better than their record. I still am astounded that the Titans, as bad as they are, beat them in the first game of the season. I just, it's incredible to me that happened. The other thing that, and we're going to talk a little bit about Tom Brady, but and I definitely want to get Leora's opinion on this. If Peyton Manning, who is 38 years old now, makes it to the Super Bowl and the Broncos win, is this his swan song? Does he choose to go out on a high note and retire should the Denver Broncos win the Super Bowl? And we'll finish with Leora this time. I want to start with you, Sonja.
He's such a competitor. And it's hard for me to see, but I think he would probably call it a career. Granted, but if the doctors say and if everything's okay, he still might come back. But it's hard for me to say, but I wouldn't be surprised if he called it a career. I would not be surprised if he would want to go out on top. I could see him wanting to do that.
Michelle?
I honestly believe that had the Broncos won the Super Bowl last year, that Peyton Manning would have retired. I think that he wanted to prove everybody wrong. We doubted him. He had his neck injury. He came back. He took the team. He took the league by storm. And I believe had they won, he would have retired. So yes, I think if he wins the Super Bowl, he's going to be out because he has nothing else to prove. He would have won it with 2 teams, with both the teams that he's played for, and he would have won it at the end of his career when everybody thought his career was over just 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Leora? Do we still have Leora?
I think we do.
Her picture is up again.
We've got a pretty pink hair picture. We'll try to get Leora back in here. Seem to be having some connection issues. Maybe Leora wants to go back out again and come back in again. That might clear that.
It helps.
She's doing her Brandon Marshall. She checked herself out.
She's taking a selfie.
Yes.
I agree with Michelle. I think if Peyton Manning had won the Super Bowl last year, that he would have retired. And I think that if they win this year, that he will retire. I don't think, though, that he will be done with the game of football. Here she comes. Get Leora back in here. I definitely see Peyton Manning continuing his career in the National Football League, either as a coach or in a front office capacity, much like John Elway serves with the Denver Broncos right now. So, in my opinion, if Peyton Manning does retire, we've certainly not seen the last of him. Leora, what do you think?
You there?
I'm here.
Okay, good.
Peyton Manning, is he going to retire if the Denver Broncos win the Super Bowl or not?
Me?
You.
I got kicked out and I just got back. so things are kind of messy. Sorry about that.
It's all right.
Is he going to retire? No, he's not going to retire. Tom Brady at the beginning of the season said, I'll retire when I suck. And Peyton Manning echoed that remark. So I think I don't even want to think about if we make it to the Super Bowl. If we win the Super Bowl, I don't think that is going to be a deciding factor for him. But I think if he continues to perform well and he has the supporting cast that he has now, which is strong and complete, he'll hang until he feels that his body can't handle it anymore, or it's not enjoyable. So I'd say next season, maybe the season after. So I don't know. That's just me being hopeful.
All right. The Broncos and the Patriots will face each other this coming Sunday in what is sure to be a preview of the AFC Championship game. How much longer will the Pats and the Broncos be the cream of the AFC? Leora, we'll start with you.
How much longer will they be the cream of the AFC? Is that?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, that's a lot of feedback. But that's tough. Hey, you know what? The Broncos have been a playoff caliber team for several years. If you take out that horrible 2-year period we had, Josh McDaniels, they're always
yes.
Horrible times. I drank a lot those 2 seasons. But
I understand that completely.
I think as long as Tom Brady's the quarterback for the Patriots, they will be in the playoff contender. But I don't see a future for them after Tom Brady retires. Like, who's going to be the quarterback of the Patriots when he's gone? Who's gonna the workhorse when Gronkowski retires or gets injured again? So an injury away from falling apart, in my opinion. And yeah, a little biased because I'm a Bronco fan, but I feel we're a very complete team as long as we make the right moves in the offseason, like we did this last offseason. We'll remain strong.
Michelle, what do you think? How much longer will the Broncos and the Patriots be the cream of the crop in the AFC? And are the Patriots just a Tom Brady injury away from collapse?
I think, I'll start with the Patriots, and I kid Lisa Johnson, who's our official Miami Dolphins fan reporter, and I'm not going to pick against the Patriots until you guys prove me wrong. And so the Patriots have dominated the AFC. I don't care who goes to the Super Bowl. You have to go through New England to get to that Super Bowl. Even Denver last year, they had to beat New England for us to believe that they were going despite their record. So as long as and it may be Tom Brady and it may be Bill Belichick or whatever it is, and until somebody knocks them off and they don't make the playoffs, then I'm going to say that New England's always going to be there. But Denver, I think it's a different situation. I think on their side of the ball, you always have to watch for San Diego, and then Kansas City with this new coaching staff, they're on the rise. If Peyton Manning's not there, is that the same Denver team that we're going to see without Peyton Manning? You never know, but I know this team won Super Bowls. I think John Elway will continue to put a good product on the floor. But I think everything in the AFC still runs through New England.
Sonja?
As long as Tom Brady and Peyton Manning are the quarterbacks, they are going to be the cream of the crop. I mean, even last year, you look at New England, and they kind of had to dink and dunk and put pieces together, and they still made it to the AFC Championship. And, they had a skeleton crew out there. So, yeah, I'm kind of like Michelle. Road goes through New England until, Tom Brady is done.
The playoff picture right now, if the season ended, I know, I didn't include it in NFC. I'm sorry, Sonja, I know your Lions are in there, baby.
Oh, that's
but right now, the playoff picture in the AFC, Chargers and Bills are the wild card favorites. So my question is, can a Kyle Orton-led Bills team get the job done? Sonja, let's start with you, girl.
Whew. well, he got the job done against the Lions, but that's another story because I totally blame that on the kicker, but that's another story. Can a Kyle, I mean, they're doing it right now. They're doing it right now, so I guess maybe. But paparazzi.
I know. I'm sorry. I'll quit. But you know, we have to have some pictures.
Okay, it's okay. I understand. It's fun.
We have to have some pictures.
But I think it's hard to believe that Kyle Orton can deliver this team to a playoff. And, you know, you still want E.J. Manuel to hopefully get in at some point because, I mean, he was a first-round pick. You kind of want to use him, right? That's what he's there for, and not Kyle Orton. So right now they're proving us wrong, right? Or, you know, they can do it, but hard to believe. I don't see him sustaining.
Michelle, can a Kyle Orton-led Buffalo Bills team make the playoffs?
Interesting about Kyle Orton is the thing that we remember most about Kyle Orton is him losing his job to Tebow. But we would forget that Kyle Orton was the quarterback, I believe, with Chicago, and he was playing very well during that time, which made him a hot commodity to go to Denver. So, but the thing, Buffalo, what was being overlooked is the defense in Buffalo. I think, I don't know, all Kyle Orton needs to do is just dump the ball off to his weapons. He can throw little short passes like Colt McCoy did and let those guys go and let the defense handle the rest. I mean, again, in the AFC, in the division that he's in or in the AFC, I think they have an opportunity because we already know the Patriots are going to win the division. And then everybody else, I mean, the Dolphins are in. I mean, you don't know. They can sneak in there. He can sneak in and get them to the playoffs because the defense is playing well.
That is true.
Yep. Leora?
I don't think so. I don't know a whole lot about the Bills this season. I know Kyle Orton just because he was a quarterback for the Broncos, but I don't think he has enough of a strong supporting cast to get him to the playoffs. It would be great if it's wrong because I'm rooting for them as the underdog this year. They've always done well the first half of the season and then kind of peter out. At least that's been their MO for the last 3-4 years. But I don't think, given the division they're in, that they will make it to the playoffs. Maybe a wild card spot, but that's an outside shot.
Michelle, are there any hard feelings in Dallas over Kyle Orton kind of forcing his way out and, maybe not going to retire, blah, 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 and then ending up there?
Was he on our team? Oh, I forgot all about that.
I think we got our answer.
All right.
Not at all.
That's fair enough. I was curious, I mean, I wouldn't cry rivers if I lost Kyle Orton. It was kind of odd how all that went down, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because
that was
the problem, because is none of these people are the answer for
I got to Michelle pictures. I just got her. I'm working on her right now. I'm working on you, girl. I want to get that star. I hadn't quite gotten that star. I'm going to work on it because, we're working it.
Oh, goodness. Oh, there you go.
He's doing a lot better than I expected. I was kind of shocked that they decided to sit E.J. Manuel and go with him, but hey, whatever works. All right, before we get to offensive and rookie candidates of the year and their genres, I want to ask you guys about the Atlanta Falcons just real quick. Another NFC topic. The NFC South sucks just as badly as the AFC South. The Falcons are a hot mess. There are calls for Mike Smith to be fired, off with his head. Should Mike Smith be fired? Leora, I'll start with you.
That's a tough question. I don't think so. I think that there's more going on than what's on the surface. It might require a lot of shifting in the coaching staff in general, not just with but I don't think he should be fired. The season's not over yet. and it's a little early to trigger happy, as they say. So no, I'd say wait till the end of the season. I don't understand why coaches get fired, especially when they're already doing poorly. That just kills whatever morale might be left with the team. So just see if we can muscle through the season and reevaluate.
Michelle, what do you think? Should Mike Smith be fired or not?
I'm not going to say that he should be fired, but I think if they don't win or make the playoffs, he's going to be fired because they've done everything they can to build this team offensively, defensively. They drafted the offensive line that they thought would protect Matty Ice, and this team has continued to fail every year. They may start out well, and then they decline in the end, and it's unfortunate for Mike. He's be the fall guy, and I think if he doesn't make the playoff, think about it, their division is in shambles. They can still win their division. They can still win it because Carolina's not producing, New Orleans is not where they're supposed to be, so they still have a shot. But if he doesn't do it this year, I think this is it for him, unfortunately.
Sonja, you agree with that?
Oh yeah, I think that this is if they don't make the playoffs, they don't make something happen, then yeah, no. I mean, you look at last year and you're like, okay, maybe just an anomaly after going, to pretty much they were in the NFC Championship the year before that, right? And then they had that awful season last season. And if they still have an awful season this season and, aren't able to turn it around, then yeah, I think it's going to be time. I mean, I know they have had a lot of injuries and things like that, but still, you don't drop off that much. And then you look at the calls at the end of the Lions game last week. It's just like, what's going on down there? What's going on? So, I don't know. I hate to say it, but yeah, he'll probably, if he doesn't straighten this up, he's going to lose his job at the end of the season.
I agree with Leora. If it were me, I don't think that I would fire him. I think that he should get another year. I mean, for goodness sakes, they're pulling guys out of the Home Depot to play on that offensive line. I understand what Sonja and Michelle are both saying, and I don't disagree with it. I do think that if the Falcons don't make the playoffs, that he is probably going to get poop canned. And as unfortunate as it is, it's very much a "what have you done for me lately" league. And and I agree. There are some very curious things going on in Atlanta that do not make any sense. And ultimately, someone it has to be held accountable, whether you like it or not. It's usually the head coach. And so, I guess that we'll see. All right, we're halfway through the season, so let's talk about some mid-season candidates for. Let's start with Offensive Player of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year. Now, this is open to anybody. Rookie, a veteran, it does not matter. Who are your candidates for that? And then we're going to talk about who your candidates are for Defensive Rookie Player of the Year and Offensive Rookie Player of the Year. So, Sonja, I'll start with you. Offensive Player of the Year, regardless of status, who would you pick?
My running back, DeMarco Murray. He is doing some really good things down there in Dallas. Nobody thought that he was going to be this great this year. But the Cowboys really have stepped up their offensive line, and they are just blocking for him really good and getting him some good runs. 100 yards in the first 7 games of the season hasn't been done since Jim Brown, so that's my Offensive Player of the Year so far. And my Defensive Player of the Year so far is A1 DeAndre Levy, linebacker, Detroit Lions, doing a really good job back there in that defense, having a lot of turnovers, just doing a really good job back there. So that's my Offensive and Defensive Players of the Year thus far.
All right, Michelle, how about you? Then we'll turn to rookies next.
Well, okay, let's start with my Offensive Player of the Year. I mean, you can't go wrong picking Peyton Manning because he has all of the numbers, but I'm going to go DeMarco Murray, and not because he's a Cowboy. And the reason I say that,
Let's just go ahead and say this. I don't mean to interrupt you, Michelle. Peyton Manning's going to get the MVP award, so we're going to take him out of contention, and we'll focus on non-Peyton Manning players for Offensive Player of the Year.
Well, I would go DeMarco Murray. I mean, 8 games into the season, 7 games into the season, the guy has over 1,000 yards already. He's had 100 yards in 7 straight games. With the change, and this is a change because we haven't seen this from the Cowboys. They're 5-2, and it's pretty much been on the legs of him. His play and his ability to keep the ball moving and control the ball with Romo has helped the defense and even made them look better. I give him all the credit for the success that the Cowboys are having this season. And for Defensive Player of the Year, I mean, I can't. It's nothing I can do. All I can see is 2 J's.
Gotcha.
And I see JJ, and I see JJ. And so I don't know who else can be it, but I'm going to watch that thing with JJ.
Yeah. All right, Leora. Defensive Player of the Year and Offensive Player of the Year.
Well, for Offensive Player of the Year, since obviously Manning is going to get MVP for a 6th time, I definitely would agree with the consensus. DeMarco Murray, the numbers he's putting up are nothing short of phenomenal. I don't think we'll see a season like this for a long time if he continues to put the kind of numbers up that he's been putting up. It's been really cool to see. Unfortunately, I don't have him on any of my fantasy teams, and anytime I play against him, I get my butt spanked. So he is he's a very dynamic player, and he's really fun to watch, and that's really hard because I am a Dallas fan. For Defensive Player of the Year, I would have to agree. J. Watt. He's got more touchdowns than some wide receivers right now. It's just ridiculous.
It's crazy.
But I got to say Von Miller's. It is. But I got to say Von Miller's right behind him. Between him and DeMarcus Ware, that's a scary backfield for any offense going in and playing against the Broncos. But I still think produce what he's doing and performing how he is. He'll get the nod.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Von Miller's playing very well. I would have to give a little bit of love to Justin Houston. He plays for the Kansas City Chiefs. I think he's having a nice year. I think DeAndre Levy is also playing extremely well. But for me, and I shouldn't have said, I do think Peyton Manning is going to win the MVP, by the way. But there are discussions about whether or not J.J. Watt might win it. And he's a legit candidate, I think, for the Most Valuable Player award, as dominant as he has been. But I would probably pick him for Defensive Player of the Year. And I agree with you, ladies, that DeMarco Murray, hands down, has to be Offensive Player of the Year right now, given how well he's playing and everything he's bringing to the table, and just the outstanding year that he's having in Dallas. All right, so let's talk about rookies real quick. Offensive Rookie of the Year and Defensive Rookie of the Year. Leora, I'll start with you.
Coming into yesterday and today, I was really rooting for C.J. Mosley over with Baltimore, but I heard he got suspended today. I'm not really sure what the details are behind that. So I really don't know who would be a good replacement.
I think that might be actually Sonja. Is that your C.J. Mosley?
My C.J. Mosley, got suspended for 2 weeks. He got sent home from London. I don't know what's going on with that. I haven't heard too much since. So, yes, that was the Lions veteran C.J. Mosley, not the rookie from the Baltimore Ravens, C.J. Mosley. Because there are two.
Wow, that's crazy. That's so
until that
crazy.
Happened.
So I stick with my original.
I had no idea there were 2 C.J. Mosleys.
That's crazy.
It's kind of like the
for
two
clarifying that. Now I feel like a ball.
No, you shouldn't, because I totally thought it was him.
Brandon Marshalls, yes.
Yes, like the 2 Brandon Marshalls.
Yeah. No, I had to tweet Gwen. I had to Gwen, this is not our guy, is it? And it wasn't our guy, so.
It was my guy.
It was it was totally, it's all Sonja's fault. It's always Sonja's fault.
It is. Blame me.
Who would be your offensive player of the year? Rookie.
Sammy Watkins, for sure.
Excellent.
Sammy Watkins. He's what he's doing up there in Buffalo is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I have him on my fantasy team, one of the 5 fantasy teams. So he's been doing good for me. So he's got a future. May not be a Buffalo, but he's definitely got a future in NFL. So.
Mm-hmm.
Michelle, what do you think? Who is your offensive and defensive rookie of the year?
Yeah, I'm right with Leora on the offensive side. I have Sammy Watkins. I think he started out a little slow, and that may have been EJ. But lately he's come on, and he's putting up the numbers that they thought he would when they drafted him. I think he's going to be a great talent for the Buffalo Bills. On the defensive side, I'm going to go with Shazier, I believe, from Pittsburgh, the linebacker from the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think he's having a great season. Anchoring the defense for the Steelers this year.
Sonja?
So let's see. My offensive player of the year would be Sammy Watkins. I'm so glad that he is having a good year in Buffalo because, you know, I'm glad that he is because I didn't really want him here in Detroit, but I'm glad that he has found a home in Buffalo and is doing really well. So I'm glad. But also, and then my defensive rookie of the year is the Bears' Kyle Fuller. He is pretty nice things so far, and I think he's only going to get better. And as their defense is kind of looking, well, their whole team is looking a little scraggly right now, but I think he is a good bright spot on that team.
I agree with Sonja. I would pick Kyle Fuller too, although I love C.J. Mosley. And I think he's going to have an outstanding career. I love Ryan Shazier. Named one of my fantasy football teams after Ryan Shazier. Another outstanding guy. I think it's pretty close. And you know, Sammy Watkins is a little bit of the flashier guy, and I think that he is having an outstanding year. I got to give a little bit of love, though, to Kelvin Benjamin in Carolina.
That was my second choice.
Yeah. Exactly. Me too.
Numbers are pretty close, and they're both doing extremely well. It's going to be a tight race, I think, going down between those two. And I have to give Michelle's Zach Martin a little bit of love, too. He's not going to get it because offensive linemen
don't get it.
But he is probably the best rookie in the league.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I agree. You know, I might have given it to Sonja's Wolford, Larry. Your offensive lineman. He's actually not playing as well this year, but still a good player. So
yeah.
All right. So
much better.
Okay. Well, we were going to talk. We have about 10 minutes left, and we typically talk about hot topics in this segment. What I wanted to get from you guys, we're roughly halfway through. We're 8 games in, getting ready to start week 9. And so what to you, ladies, collectively, has been the #1 hot topic in the National Football League through roughly half of the season? And Leora, I will start with you.
It would definitely have to be the Ray Rice debacle and how Roger Goodell handled things and it's really unfortunate that. Well, I have very strong feelings about this as a victim of domestic violence. As a woman, it's just it's disrespectful, and having Roger Goodell testify at Ray Rice's appeal, that just makes me very, very angry. I know that it's not a perfect world, so Roger Goodell's not just going to turn around and step down as commissioner. Getting him fired would be incredibly impossible. I really hope that this shines a light on a major issue that's takes in the NFL. violence and child abuse and even substance abuse and alcohol abuse. Just these players who feel like they can get away with practice and their stars, and they put things have to change. I don't know how, I don't know when, but things have to change for the better. I could go on and on, so I'll stop there.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And if you read me and read the articles that I write, you know that I too am a domestic violence survivor. If you know 4 women out there, you know a survivor. So the numbers are 1 in 4 women in the world are victims of some sort of abusive relationship. So, numbers don't lie. If you know 4 women, you know someone who has been a victim. So, I agree completely with Leora. Michelle, what about you? What do you think has been the hot topic through roughly half of the year?
Well, obviously the domestic violence things has been a hot topic because that's socially what we've talked about from a non-football perspective. Because I don't make that a football issue. I think it's an issue opposite of what Lenora just said about the celebrityism. I think because of the celebrityism that we may talk about it more than we probably may need to with regards to the sports, because it's not just happening in the NFL. I mean, these things, we all know these are things that happen in everyday life to everyday people, people you work with, people you sit next to, people you talk to every day. Go home and beat their wives, or they have some type of thing. These things happen, and this is something that we have to take care of as a society, and the mentality of society. So I don't put that so much on the NFL. I had a totally different view from everything that happened with the whole Ray Rice situation. And now clearly I despise what Ray Rice did, and I think that his wife should have never married him and went on her way. But I also have to give a little bit of credit to Roger Goodell, who's always under fire. However, if you look at the situation, he is the only person that actually did something. We may not have agreed with it and how long it should have been or what it was, but nobody else did anything. No, he wasn't arrested. I mean, nothing else happened to him besides his suspension. And so I don't think there are any other sports or any other leagues that would have even done anything, to be honest, because nobody else has rules. So the good thing in how it was handled and how he did it is it's going to not only help the NFL, but it's going to make the NBA have a rule. It's going to make the
it already is. They're already talking about
all of the leagues do something, because the truth be told, he did suspend him. It wasn't what we thought or what most people thought it should be, but he did something and nobody else did anything. And so at least it opened the floodgates. For him, it didn't look good how everything. I mean, I disagree with giving people a penalty and then going back and changing it. I disagree with all of that too, because there are a lot of things that happened in the situation for both sides that were absolutely wrong. And so I think that nothing else. It's nothing else you can bring up that's bigger than those situations with him and Adrian Peterson and the child abuser. In that situation, it's nothing else we can even. I don't even think we can even bring up anything, because that's going to not just affect the league; it's going to change all of the leagues.
It's going to dominate.
Yeah, it's going to change all of them, because nobody else had. Then I can bet you right now the NBA had nothing, and somebody.
No, they're working on it now.
Yeah, because
they're working on it now.
Of the NFL, because of what happened with the NFL, so that's a good thing.
And let's not forget though. I think that the NBA would have done it anyway. The NBA, the National Basketball Players Association, is now headed by a female, and I think that there would have been some changes regardless. But you're seeing it. MLB is talking about it. We'll see MLB be a lot slower to change anything than
God,
anybody.
yes.
You all know that. We don't even have to discuss why. Sonja, what about you? I don't want to leave you out. What do you think has been the hottest topic?
Well, obviously the Ray Rice and Adrian Peterson thing has been huge, but in a positive light has been Devin Still and his the story about the Bengals and his daughter, and keeping him on so that he can help pay for his daughter's treatment and his her cancer treatment, which is a very difficult thing because I've seen kids that have this, and so I know what they go through and I know what the families go through, and raising money for that cause, raising money for the Children's Hospital, that has been a beautiful thing. Was it the Chiefs? The Patriots. The Patriots cheerleaders who came out in Devin Still's jersey. I mean, that was just a beautiful, beautiful, great moment of getting it right. So I think that even though it's not as flashy, but I still think that is one of the bigger stories that has gone on this season with the NFL. So more personal with Devin Still, but I still think that's a very good story.
Sonja, by the way, is a nurse, and I know that issue is very dear to her. You're a pediatric nurse, aren't you?
Yeah, pediatric cancer nurse. So I see patients just like his daughter all the time.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, and I'm glad that you brought that up because it is an awesome thing, and we can't forget to. We talk about the Ray Rice and the Adrian Peterson thing, and obviously it's emotional for a lot of women who have personal experience with it, and and I agree with a lot of what Michelle said. I will say this though, I think that it is a great opportunity for the National Football League to actually, for once, get out in front of an issue. They've been far too long to be reactive rather than proactive, and I think that they're choosing to be proactive on this issue, and that it's a great thing. And I think it's going to be, and I agree that it's a societal issue, but I think that it will legitimately help bring about change in society because the National Football League is one of the most high-profile things ever, and it reaches a lot of people. And I can't let this discussion go by without talking about excuse me, a lot of the PSAs that are coming out now. The one by the football players, the one by the celebrities. All of this came about because of the Ray Rice situation, and so it's, if you can take a difficult and terrible situation and make something positive out of it, then that's a good thing. And so and we're starting hopefully to see some positive come out of that situation. So. All right. Well, it's always such a quick hour, always a fun hour. We're almost out of time. I'm going to let Sonja take us out, and then I'll let Sonja do the outros, and then I will take us out.
Awesome. Well, once again, it's been such a great hour. I'm so glad to finally have Leora and Michelle on the show. You guys are going to have to come back. I am so excited to have you guys. Thank you guys again so much. You guys make sure you catch Michelle. Are you doing Pick'em tomorrow on the NFL Female Podcast? All right.
NFL Female and
Michelle does pick'ems on the podcast every week, so make sure you guys check her out there. And Leora, tell us where else we can find you.
Actually, I just recorded. Been a long day. I just recorded for a show that's coming out tomorrow called Across the Middle with another fellow Denver Bronco fan of mine who lives out here. So that'll be posted tomorrow, and I'll post it. So and I just all over Twitter. I find me Leora Kitty, a lot of smack talk and Bronco stats and spreading the sisterhood love.
Yay! And Michelle, tell us where we can find you. Thanks, Miss Leora.
You can find me at the Sports Jinks. I am, of course, as we mentioned, the director for NFL Female. I also do all of the picks for the week on NFLfemale.com. there, check me out and see if you can. I didn't do too well last week, but I'm okay. I'm above 500. So.
That's all that matters.
There you go. And again, I am Sonja. I am the official Detroit Lions fan reporter for NFL Female. You can find me on Twitter at mom, the number 2, the number 3, RN. You can also find me saying some stuff, writing about all sports in general over at A Good Sports Hang with me and the crew over there. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. And Sharona, take us out.
All right, well, I'm Sharona. You can follow me on Twitter at Sports by Sharona. Next week, we have a big show for you. We're going to have Russell Baxter on. We haven't had Russell on in a while, the football guru, the stats king. He's definitely one of the most knowledgeable NFL guys that I've ever had the pleasure to talk to. Really looking forward to having him. And we also have a Buffalo Bills radio host and media guy, Sal Capaccio. He's going to be on talking about the NFL and the Buffalo Bills. Get some Sammy Watkins talk out of him. Really looking forward to having him on. So stay tuned in for that. Big shout out to Liz. Can't let the show go without giving some love to our muse, our guru, Liz, who makes all of this possible. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. We'll be back next week with another great show. Happy Halloween. By the way, I am Javon Curse. I came as Javon Curse. This is exactly what the Titans need. So, you know, me here, Titans, get at me. Let me help you fix things. So,
tighten up, y'all. Tighten up,
y'all. So, see us next week. We'll be back. Have a very pleasant evening, and we'll catch you next week.
Bye.
Arrivederci.
Bye.
Bye. Bye-bye. Arrivederci. I like that.